With the recent release of the DZO Arles and NISI Aureus, we're now getting budget cine lenses with similar specifications to lenses that used to cost $30,000 or $40,000 a lens. And if only one of these lens sets was available, it would be easy for me to recommend them as a budget alternative to those more premium lenses. But one of the most frequent questions I'm getting is, should I buy the DZO Arles or should I buy the NISI Aureus? There's only about a $150 difference in the retail price of the lenses, but based on the deals that are going at the time, I've seen one or the other be cheaper. So I don't think price is much of a consideration, but I did find some good deals on both of these lenses, and I will put those links in the description down below. A quick disclosure, although I've never been paid by either DZO or NISI, they have supplied me with loaner gear in the past, or even gifted me gear for some of my videos, but they've never had any say in the making of my videos. First, looking at the size and weight comparison, the DZO Arles are noticeably larger and heavier than the NISI Aureus. They're about 25% heavier on average across the set. The NISI Aureus, even though there's only 5 focal lengths right now, all 5 of those focal lengths have the exact same weight, which is quite impressive. There is a slight variation in weight with the DZO Arles. With both sets of lenses, both the iris and the focus ring will line up, so when you switch between lenses in that set, you won't have to move anything around on your rig. Now, interestingly, both lenses have an 86mm filter thread, which I actually don't love. It is kind of an odd size, and in most situations, I have to adapt everything to make that work. One place the Arles might have a little bit of an advantage is the Aureus has, for a clamp-on matte box, it's got a 90mm diameter, which is a bit of an odd size, and you have to use this plastic adapter even to use it with NISI's own matte box, where the Arles have a 95, so there's a lot of standard matte boxes that are just 95. You're going to be able to clamp those straight on. With the Aureus, you're going to have a 300-degree focus throw, and with the Arles, you're going to have a 270-degree focus throw, but in actual use, it feels almost identical, and that is because the Arles is a bigger lens, so when you've got your focus motor on there, you actually has to turn about the same number of times to turn the Aureus the same distance. So even though there is that variation in use using a focus motor, they're going to actually feel identical to each other, and I actually think both manufacturers tuned this perfectly with the 270 and the 300-degree focus throw. There's a pretty significant difference in the stiffness of the iris ring comparing the Arles and the Aureus, with the Aureus being much tighter. That means you're not going to accidentally bump it out when you're using it handheld, but it can be a bit of a challenge when using a motor to change the iris because it will shift the lens around unless you really lock it down with some lens support. Looking at the focal length options, this is another place we're going to see a reasonably significant difference, at least at the time of making this video. The Arles are going to have 11 focal lengths, varying between 14mm and 180mm. The Aureus currently is only available in 5, going from 18 to 85. Now, they have announced that there are 3 more coming, so there's going to be a 29 to 65 and a 105 added to that. But the Arles is still going to give you access to a wider focal length at 14, and then a longer focal length going all the way to 135 and 180. The other thing you're going to be able to do with both of these lenses is the DZO Arles are going to mix really nicely with the Vespid 2s, which has 6 focal lengths varying between 18 and 105. And the NISI Aureus mixes really nicely with their Athena set, of which there's currently 8 focal lengths ranging from 14 to 135. And I actually think something that I don't hear a lot of people talk about is you could buy into one of those more affordable T1.9 sets and then only buy 1 or 2 of either the Arles or the Aureus as a hero lens for that set, maybe a 35mm or maybe a longer focal length. And that'll allow you to mix the 2 different sets of lenses and access that T1.4 when you really need that specific shot. And because they're using similar coatings between the different lens sets, I think they should mix really well. Now we're going to jump into the image quality test, and because the design and manufacturing process for budget cine lenses have come so far, the differences are mostly subtle, and the decision will mostly be made on the feature set of the lenses and these subtle optical differences. For the optical comparisons in this video, the only 2 lenses that I have that are comparable focal lengths is the 35. I do find that we get similar image quality across most of these sets of lenses, so for all these tests, I'm comparing the 2 35s to each other. Looking at focus breathing, they're both pretty well controlled, particularly for lenses at this price point, but the Arles are noticeably better. Now, I think in real world shots where there's going to be a lot of movement, you're probably not even going to notice that. But if you're doing a static shot and you're using a focus pull intentionally to draw somebody's attention to one subject in the frame and then another, you're definitely going to notice that little bit of zooming in and out. You could keyframe this and deal with it in editing, but the Arles focus breathing performance is definitely better than the Aureus. Now, something I've never never tested before when I'm comparing cine lens sets, but something people have been asking me is one of the sets warmer or cooler than the other? Now, I'm generally using a custom white balance when I'm shooting with the cine lenses, so the camera actually just takes all that out of it, so it's not really an issue. But for those people that asked the question, I decided to test it, and the results were absolutely fascinating because both of these lenses match color-wise nearly identically. There was only a 50 Kelvin shift in white balance, and when I used the vector scope to compare the colors, they were literally identical. So this color performance is so similar that I think you could probably mix lenses between these two different brands and sets, and nobody would even notice. Now, looking at the distortion performance, the Aureus is arguably perfect. I could really find no movement at all, even with lines that were very close to the edge of frame. The Arles were also very good. They just had this slight bit of barrel distortion, which I think looks quite good and is quite popular with cinema. So this is really going to come down to personal preference. You're going to get just the slightest barrel distortion with the Arles, and you're going to get a near perfect straight line performance with the Aureus. The vignette performance between the two lenses is so close. In real world results, they're going to be completely indistinguishable from each other. But at T1.4, if you shoot a blank wall, you might notice that the Arles has a hint more vignette just as you get to the extreme corners. By T4, the vignette's pretty much gone across both lenses, and it stays that way as you stop it down all the way to T8. Looking at the chromatic aberration performance, something that has been an Achilles heel of budget cine lenses in the past, both of these lenses were near perfect, and I put them in the most extreme situations. Backlit across objects, backlit trees. These are things that in the past with budget cine lenses, everything would have lit up like a crazy purple Christmas tree. I could really not find any, and in all the real world results, it was absolutely clean. So you're not really going to have to worry about chromatic aberration being a problem. Looking at the longitudinal chromatic aberration, which is a change in color cast of the out of focus areas before and after the plane of focus, this will often also show up as color rings around specular highlights or bokeh balls. With both lenses even wide open, it was either very minor or non-existent. In any real world situation, you're not going to have to worry about that. Once again, I think this is an incredible performance for what are budget cine lenses. Looking at the flare performance, it was so close, it was hard to tell them apart. I think there are some subtle differences, and really you should be the judge just by looking at the samples and see if you like one a little bit better than the other. I think if I were going to point out any little differences I could find, both of them can desaturate a little bit when they have light come from the outside of frame and hit that front element. The Arles might do it slightly more, and every once in a while you get this little bit of popping where the image desaturates as that light cuts across that front element. Now, you would be able to deal with that quite easily by putting a matte box on. I felt like the Aureus were slightly better with light coming from outside of frame, but inside of frame, maybe they were slightly worse. But to be honest, you look at these samples, it was all so exceptionally close. I couldn't recommend picking one or the other based on the flare performance alone. Both of them have an incredibly close minimum focus distance. It's under 1.25 feet, and they have a similar magnification. The Arles probably focuses about 1 centimeter closer than the Aureus, but there's no real world meaningful difference. And the image quality is good from T1.4. You do get a bit more detail as you stop it down. In most real world situations, you're never going to shoot at T1.4 at minimum focus distance anyways, but if you want to, you can, and the images do still look pretty good. I kind of thought the bokeh was where we were going to see a very big difference, or at least some difference, but I found them to be very similar and really hard to pick them apart. I think the Aureus has a slightly more defined bokeh ball, maybe just the slightest hint of bubble bokeh. The Aureus maybe has a slightly softer bokeh ball, but this difference is so subtle that I'm honestly I probably spent a half an hour going back and forth looking at the two images. You're probably going to have to pause the video and look at them over and over to find any difference, but in real world situations, I think the bokeh and background blur is very similar, and they're both excellent. Looking at sharpness on the lenses, I found in all my real world results, shooting them side by side, even with static subjects, it is very hard to pick a difference. They are both just as sharp as each other. When we do throw them on a test chart, we will find some subtle differences. Generally, these are not going to be meaningful in real world results, but here's what the test charts look like. Looking at the center of frame and starting at T1.4, they're both very similarly sharp to each other, and they're both exceptionally sharp lenses. As you stop them down a little bit to T2, you do get a little bit more contrast and a little bit more detail. And from T2 on, they are razor sharp. And even as you continue to stop them down, you're not going to get any improvement in contrast or detail because the lenses are already razor sharp in the middle of frame. Moving on to the mid frame, which I think is a lot more important than the corners, and starting at T1.5, they're both going to be very similar, maybe not quite as sharp as the center, and maybe arguably the Aureus is slightly more detail, but it is very, very similar. As you step them down to T4 and T5.6, the mid frame and edge frame are now giving you a similar sharpness to the center frame. Looking at the corners and starting at T1.5, the Aureus is noticeably sharper, and it remains slightly sharper until you get to about T5.6. Now, note we are shooting in open gate mode, so we're using the full frame sensor. We're not using a 16:9 crop, which would be standard video. If you do crop it down to 16:9, the corners on the Arles do clean up just a little bit. But ultimately, corner sharpness in cine lenses is something that I really don't think about, and I don't really think matters. And in real world results, across all images that I shot with these lenses, I really can't tell the difference in sharpness. The big takeaway for me is these are both great cine lens sets, and I don't think you could go wrong with either. What's most surprising is the optical performance at the price point. The existence of these lenses means that you can now buy a T1.4 cine lens with incredible build quality and near perfect optical performance for about 10% of the price of the high-end brand cine lenses. If you're interested in how the DZO Vespa 2s and NISI Athenas compare to each other, I've just thrown a video on screen now. Those lenses are T1.9 lenses, which is more than enough in most situations. They're significantly smaller than the T1.5 bigger brothers, and they cost about half the price.